In this video, we will look at how a general misunderstanding about how memory works inhibits what we remember and undermines how we study. This video is part of a series of videos on memory. Others include memory myths, the importance of memory, and how to improve memory. Our brain's memory system and how we either remember or forget something is extremely complex. Memory is not reproductive, it is reconstructive. The first thing we need to know is, unlike computers, our memories do not work by first creating a memory, saving it, and then going back to retrieve it with perfect accuracy once we need it. Instead, every time we go to retrieve a memory, our brain begins a process of imperfect recall, attempting to reactivate and reconstruct or recreate the memory we happen to be looking for. To make things even trickier, our memory doesn't remember something just because we think it matters. There's no direct brain signal for importance. Instead, it indirectly guesses whether something is important by using things like your level of emotion and the amount of effort you put into encoding and storing. Academic researchers who specialize in the science of learning, like John Dunlosky and Henry Roediger, have produced compelling research proving that by shifting the focus from primary storing information to recalling or retrieving information, students greatly improve their ability to learn, and they learn more efficiently. Retrieving information refers to pulling a stored memory out of long-term memory into working memory for continued processing and use. Interestingly enough, we do this constantly in our everyday lives. Memory strategies strengthen our memories so that they are durable and reliable over time. As a reminder, memory is about more than just getting information into our brains or encoding. Research also shows that we increase the likelihood of being able to remember and apply information when we practice retrieving it rather than just being passive with the information we store, or using incorrect techniques like repeating and rereading. This is where memory strategies come in. Memory strategies are effective for three critical reasons. First, they interrupt the process of forgetting. Second, they force self-assessment of knowing. And thirdly, they strengthen the connection. Because most people don't understand how memory works, scientific research persistently reveals that students rely on ineffective techniques to learn. We end up working too hard or underperforming or forgetting what we learned. Research reveals the following. Learning is a scientific process, and for students to learn optimally, they must be taught. This is true regardless of cognitive abilities and dispositions towards learning. Students often use ineffective techniques such as highlighting and rereading with limited success. Such strategies are rooted in their own misconceptions about how they learn. Research suggests that most of us are poor judges of our own learning process. In other words, we're not very good at knowing when we're learning and when we're not. When what we are doing does not feel productive, we have an urge to move on to something that does feel effective. The problem is that despite possible good intentions, strategies that feel effective often are not, and in fact lead to a harmful habit of mistaking familiarity with knowing. This common misconception often leads to suboptimal academic performance, which can frustrate the learner and sabotage the learning process. It's easy to spend your learning time ineffectively. For the best shot at recalling something, our brain needs to be engaged in a way that facilitates encoding. Learning to apply memory techniques and strategies, we give our brains a cue for what we want to remember, and we lay a pathway for it to be retrieved once we need it. The fact is that everything we do relies on memory, from simple to the most complex. And memory techniques can be used across the board to improve everything from remembering a list of numbers to retaining a deep understanding of the interactions of biological systems, like the human body. In evaluating what drives learning success, research is also quite clear. We know that truly effective teachers know how to engage their students in activities that foster storage of new information and subsequent access or retrieval of that information. Doing so involves focusing on meaning, making connections between new concepts, and concepts that are already understood, which is prior knowledge, as well as organizing to-be-learned knowledge, and so forth. We also know that a truly effective learner needs to engage in activities that foster storage of new information and subsequent access to that information. The evidence of what drives effective teaching and learning is similar, and they point to the science of learning, and quite explicitly to mastering the process of encoding and retrieving for learning that is durable and flexible over time.